to go down in that kind of fashion probably wasn't quite expected, and now sort of moving over to that second map of the series. Inferno coming forward. Infinite, the opportunity is theirs to try and get a 2-0.
Absolutely it is, and we're looking forward to see whether they can do just that here. We're over on the CT side start, of course, for the likes of ONYX. Straight in towards the pistol round to see how far they can go with the defuse kit and the double flash for Dav here. Infinite have utility set on Chanky and Edom towards the backline defensive. It is very, very carefully placed here for Infinite.
Yeah, very passive from ONYX, not really any aggressive sightlines being taken at all. Up from the top of Banana at JR, waiting for a flash over the top so he could peek with it. No T-side contact being made.
Block. Up face and look towards that P2K. Cementi will lead that charge and try to look inland for these guys. Minute and 10. So far, so little in terms of potential against the Beast Execution. They're being very tentative about this Infinite.
I gotta wonder as well, do they just go for the set piece or do they try and draw them? Minutes still left on the clock. They've got plenty of time to work with. Everyone is regrouped to go in for the B-side execution.
Smoke's about to go down here as Dav keeps his eyes on. Flash still kept up blind. Smoke on a sight. Taps forward. One good headshot coming up with 2 overall. Ragger and Zoots to drop. Chanky can get one good responsive back on Dav. Player still on sight is JR though. He's being tapped up and the bullets flying right past him. Finally some tag damage came forward and he has to get back out of dodge. They know that he's there. Backup has still arrived for the rest of the CT side. A 4 versus 3 still. ONYX trying to get into them and try and deny the bomb plant before it even goes down. Goosh is on towards Impulse will keep them suppressed. And they've just got Bondic waiting here to try and strike back. Finds Cementi. Makes it now to 2 players left standing. They see them coming out of construction. Chanky gets tagged. Edom's already low. 13 seconds to the clock and the CD is holding off against the defensive. They won't even let a bomb plant go down here. 1 kill for Edom. Impulse with his own swing back. CT player swamping the site. And dishing out the damage. Edom gets the second kill, but he will not get the bomb plant and will not win the round.
Why did they peek so early? They could have just killed him after time. Instead, they peek forward, so somehow he gets that lost bonus forward. Dav, what a start into the round that was. The lurk smoke came in, flashes over the top, and he just aggresses out from Coffin and goes, yeah, I'm going to take the contact as they wrap into construction. And this is such an important play for him to get away with a couple of kills.
Very nicely done there, ONYX. Storming straight up, and Infinite giving up the ghost here. Pistol out to the basic eco here. Not even going to force a buy up here. They only had a they only had what's it? Just had that basic eco to come forward here. They've not got a bomb plant, so there shouldn't really be any sort of major buy.
No, not at all. There's no necessary need at all. Not getting a lot of kills to that city side either. Could work the deagle and hope to just get a couple of shots off. Hope to get a kill or 2. Nade coming back out from that long position. And Infinite are just getting mopped up by the crossfire. This A-site plague working out well. They get 1 kill onto Bondic. So there is some damage being done. Very light on the investment. So a second round coming through for ONYX. And now the Rifles can have a chance of coming through into round 3.
Nice and effective. 2-0 start here. ONYX just holding off on their lonesome. Infinite have those AK set up. Of course, on a rebuy back for the first gun round. There's still SMGs. A bit of a bonus coming in from the CT side.
I've got to imagine JR's going to start pressing quite far forward out to this banana position. Make it difficult for Infinite to take the early map control. And just use those MP9s as aggressively as they can, up close and personal.
Nades up. Smoke's down. Depression involved for the time being as JR keeps himself set. Continuing to face for Impulse, ready for even more. The CT forces sees them coming out, spray through, damage done on 2, not quite that third. Edom can trade backs on 2 frags, so making it a 3v3 scenario. Another incendiary's back as Bondic tried to take his face in, tried to knight Edom a chance. The bomb's not yet to crossfire to the site.
Yeah, they're just starting to scramble the rotations. Big kill comes through from Cementi out from that long position, and now they've got options. Bring that bomb back out to B. The problem is they have no idea that Bondic is playing out in pool.
Waiting for a reaction, sees one, grabs Zoots, looks for Cementi next up. Cementi can get a trade involved, so it will be a 2-for-1 and a 2v1 that for Infinite Gaming's advantage. Nice effort from Bondic, but still couldn't capitalize on all the kills.
And this is still a bonus round, so there is a very good chance that Dimkey is getting the edge of, yeah, go for it, mate. Try and see if you can get this 1v2 together. He's got utility, and one player is incredibly low out to the new box area.
They saw those smokes back down. Dimkey trying to make his face up. Nades on. Tagging Cementi, not finding Eden back at new box. Smoke set over to the right-hand side. There comes the kill for Eden. So he wins it out and Infinite find their first.
And just being able to work the CTs. Yeah, they get the double entries and the trades up to that banana position quite early into the round. The bomb is still taking quite some time to get there. And for Bondic, he's got one hell of a sneaky play out in sort of that pull grill position. The only thing with it, though, is in terms of the execution, only gets away with one kill. Doesn't quite multi-frag at all. Bide does come back in for ONYX on the force-up. Is going to see an AWP and an M4 for Mars 2. Pistols for Dimkey and Bondic.
Smoke at the range just to go down towards that Bracket's position and deny any sort of entry in towards that mid control for Infinite. Focus mostly up on the B site, however, so this should end up being another B take, perhaps. There's 3 players out here for the CT side, so for ONYX, I've got a decent position to be held here. Shot in for Impulse, missed out way too far wide. Just a shoulder bait coming in from the first man. Back over to JR, wins out the fight against one man, not towards that second.
They're slightly hesitant there for the T's, not quite swinging all together past the Broken Wall and allowing that 1-for-1 trade to come in for JR. They'll know that Impulse with the AWP is playing out to the B side. Dav thinking about a rotation, long side, very open for Cementi to take.
Dav sees Cementi, nice and easy. Kill found back to ONYX's favor, 4 versus 3. Nades looking to continue for Chanky, does cancel up that 1 HE, but the smoke down towards that cross and buy up an opening on that B side. The bomb can get picked up by Zoots and pushed in. Could be a denial from the mid position, however. Bondic is trying to challenge.
He thinks he's going through for Mexi, and it's a good idea that that backstab's going to be coming through. Impulse even getting a pick out for the B side. The CZ sees the bomb, knows what's going on.
As Chanky falls, his best bet is to go back in towards the A side, force out the 1v3 post plant here. No sense in fighting back towards B. Dav, the first responder with the AK back over at Library. Gap locked, spray through, and Zoots tries to go towards the center of the site. Bad idea. They're trying to set the bomb plant, taps forward, trying to go for the box wall bang here for Dav. And Zoots struggling to deal with these players here. This is virtually impossible now. There's just too little HP of an advantage.
HG goes out to the moto position, even relocating out from Pit. He is into the open for the moment. And just so damn low. 2 players coming in from that short position. Bomb has still been ticked for only a small amount of time. Great little jump up to be able to get the FAMAS in for a jiggle pig. And what I really respect from Dav in that situation, he had all the chances in the world, Jay, of pushing forward and denying that bomb from going down. He knows if he gets drawn forward and that bomb is not getting planted, he loses that fight. 2v1. Okay, now you're starting to lose players. So I really enjoyed the way that he just let that bomb go down and say, mate, I'm going to hold my life. I'm just going to jiggle peek for Moto, and I'm going to make sure I'm giving my team the advantage rather than wasting it away.
Yeah, 3rd round of the board of ONYX. Infinite still struggling to maintain their confidence here on the T side. Line AWP scope in for Impulse, taking a shot back. JR finds the kill on Raga. For a bit more with this MP9 in his hands, knows that the T-side players are pressed behind that smoke. No real way in for Infinite.
Even in terms of the util standpoint for them in this T-side round, they don't have a massive amount of it. Impulse creating some movement out from the moto position. Bondic taking a fight and seeing more out from Brackets.
Another good kill. Spray in. Impulse and Bondic catch their kills. Dimk with another good frag back on Chanky. All 5 alive here for ONYX. The flashes over. Spray through initially from JR, doing that damage, trying to catch off Edom as well. Nades up. Sprays on, just bullets flying all over the place. They look for kills out towards Banana. Cementi could find the kill out of Speedway though. Bondic. Oh, what is this? Oh my god, 2 easy kills for Cementi. He runs into the SMG. JR responds back, and the T's just storm the B site now. JR trying to get involved, but he's smoked off here. Forces forward, looks for a kill back on Ragger and gets away with it. But it's still the advantage for Infinite.
They're just saving on A. They're not moving at all. Infinite, what a trigger discipline play that was coming out for Cementi. As proper smart, just realizing, yeah, I can get a kill straight away. I'm going to wait. I'm going to try and get a 2 for 1. Yeah, he does get caught off by the SMG. The damage was already done, though.
Yeah, such a sick play. Sick play from Cementi. Becoming the difference maker, even if he did go down at the end of that round. Infinite will find their second. And although it might be a solid start for ONYX, Infinite have other ideas to try and make this as close as possible.
Now, you've got to think as well, if they can start being able to destroy the economy, yeah, there is an AWP and an M4 being saved in. Money's in the bank for JR and ONYX, so they'll be able to buy around. Dimkey or Impulse can drop Dav over a rifle. They can even go double AWPs again. They were finding a fair bit of success for that over in that last map. And there's that trigger discipline again. JR going for a ballsy play. He knows he has to, though.
It worked out, only for a moment. M4's AWPs, AUG out, AK's in for Infinite. ONYX setting themselves up towards the default positions of the defensive line, trying to get aggressive in brackets in particular. 3 players went out to position. Engagement for Infinite. That mid control here, the T side line, just for the time being. Walk out. Slow, careful plays with him. Infinite. This passive default should come up to fruition here towards that mid control into the apartments. Flashes and smokes back over Ragger. Molotov's back in position here. The T's. Wrap over towards Banana.
Just running out the Banana default without really any contact being landed at all. ONYX thinking about starting to push forward. Nade goes down, double nades. How much damage does that do? Jeez, it gets evaded completely. Infinite would just slightly further back to not take any of the chip damage.
Evading most of it for now. 45 seconds with flashes going over Ragger. The face in, smoke down, spray through. Ragger only going so far against the likes of Dav. Kill in the M4 AUG of JR from the crossfire nades back. They swing and find that 1 kill. A little bit more back from Dav as they are caught relatively blinded here. JR's assistance allows that kill to come forward to the 4 versus 3. And ONYX with a crossfire makes it down to 2. Cementi and Eden. The bomb's committed to that B site. Cementi's got to get here and support Eden somehow. Sees that 1 CT player, but takes some damage to the Molotov. Forces him out. ONYX gets the kill. And Cementi in a 1v4 scenario.
Yeah, gotta just try and see if we can isolate those picks. Even the smoke down at Coffins isn't really the best. It almost offers up a one-way. And just holding on to that AK, bring it into the next round. And what I am seeing here from ONYX is good cohesion in terms of working off one another. Dav, see how many flashes he got from his teammates rotating out from CT? And even for ONYX, the way that he's peeking out from Coffins, peeking on the crossfire, allowing that distraction to be pull that incendiary down to the pull position, and just work between them. Dav got so much support into that round. ONYX, that's their 5th.
Infinite might start to struggle from here on out here. They looked like a pretty decent squad in that previous round, but afterwards, ONYX just maintaining all their control, maintaining their positions on this CT side. The AK's back in on Cementi and Chanky. Part of a definitive force buy that still sees pistols out for most of the individuals out here. Kind of like a hero half buy on all things. ONYX going to take contact against those AKs. Might assume that 1 player over at quad.
The bottom line is it's a round that can still do damage with the amount of weaponry they've got forward. This AK playing out for the short position. JR taking the contact out from Banana could just get swung on very wide. And actually, he falls to Jankies. That's a rifle that can get picked up.
And in hand, 1 was already jumping for Cementi though. And Eden's going to go fall back to the 3 versus 3. It's an amount advantage. Really back at it. ONYX camp. Dav swing in. Changa's going to get caught. Second player is also going to be seen in the jump boost. And Impulse with the AWP pick allows that stick to go the way of ONYX. Nice effort from the Eco. It was upgrade AKs. And those AKs can stay in for Dav and Dimke.
Where is Ragga? I can't see him. All I can see is 0-1-8 for a guy that top fragged, 27 kills out in that first map, 1.32 rating. It's worrying because we're getting into what, round 9, and he's yet to really find any impact, and he's had the AWP in his hands a few of these rifle rounds.
Yeah, well, I said earlier that there's not really a lot of players that you can highlight as individuals for Infinite, but if there's one man you had to give a little bit of praise towards him on that previous map, it had to be Ragga. Dropped 27 by the end of that map up and was the top fragger on the server for his team. Really need him to get going and have some impact. He's got the AWP back in his hands and a Mac 10 of Chanky that opens things up against JR. That's at least a positive sign for the T side.
Yeah, very scrappy stuff coming through for that banana contact, just eventually being able to force the fight forward. Dimkey's got to be careful that he does not get baited into an overly aggressive apartment stack. And leaving Impulse at the top of banana is going to help rotate Bondic back over to A and hold 3 players here.
That's just set. AWP of Impulse. Force back away. Look for contact and take a shot in. A wall bang onto him at 13 points of HP.
They're going to get baited, though. They're running into the stack on A, and they don't know about this.
Bondic thinking of rotates, but little do the T side know he's still sat here. Smoke back down towards the archers. He's seen it. That baited in the shot. Counter incendiary. Dav can get a kill back, and now we'll reposition towards the site itself. Defend on their throw position. Sees 2 players lined up. A kill on one man. Continues it into Edom as well. He's just caught completely off guard like a deer in headlights. Zoots. 25 seconds to try to take the face in. We'll see that one player, but Dimke lands his kill. Dav with 3, though, becoming the center of the site defensive. ONYX on a roll.
The 30-year-old Dav is fragging like a teenager. He is having some fun with this one. Great reposition for him to aggress up from that short position, move back into the bomb site, give himself a slight crack angle to look into Moto, and just continue to rip kills.
Everyone ripped apart from Infinite. 7-2. Doesn't look a lot like how that scoreline was over on the first map, except the way of ONYX this time. MK finding Zoots at a quick shot with a 4 versus 4. The Deagles are still showing up some decent fight here for the T side, though. Advantage gained by Infinite.
And Bondic looking forward out from the apartments, brings it back to a 3v3. Oh, this is very aggressive coming out for Bondic, and they pay the price for it. The eco looks like it's going to come through with a round victory.
So 1-on-3 for Dav, and he's got to start fragging like a teenager again. Rifles in the hands of every single player now for the T side, including the Orb of Ragga, who's so ready. Gets his triple. You asked where he was, and, well, he's showing up to the server now. All important picks for him, all important round.
That's going to be frustrating for ONYX, saying to themselves, that wasn't good enough. We got too hungry. They were frag hunting. Eco hunters right there. Bondic brings it back to a 3v3, and what does he do? Just aggresses even further, unnecessarily making those aggressive moves. ONYX know better than that, and for Infinite, that's a 3rd round that shouldn't have gone their way, but it did.
Nades on, doing damage to Infinite here. HG's catching Eden for dead. Counter nades on the T side not being as successful. Chanky does not know that JR snuck so far up towards the wood stack. A few feet of smoke is all that separates these 2 players. As Dimke can catch Cementi, Chanky can see his man finally get JR to drop, but needs a secondary kill, and Dav's not going to give him the chance.
Not at all. We'll see a rotation coming back out from CT Sport and Bondic, and for Dav, just play deep into the side, allow that rotation to come in. Infinite Gaming, how do they even bring back a man advantage? Because they don't have a crazy amount of util. They don't have any map pressure up into the apartments or this brackets position. They've just got to work with what they've been able to find, and that's the top banana control.
$50 seconds to the clock, and Impulse is watching out from brackets. Time is continuing to run short. Ragga leaving it to Chanky to start and make the moves into the B site. Bondic with 1 teammate to defend against. Nades up. Tanked again by Chanky. Still hurt by the Molotov. They might have some information to how close this player is. A 3rd player even rotates up with the incendiary. Chanky still gets caught by Bondic's kill. Zoots burning a 21, and now to dead. Ragga set with the AWP with a 1v4, gets that first pick. Seeing that 2nd player as well, but needs to go frag on towards him, get that bomb down and all. And Impulse comes in with his own AWP frag.
And we're just seeing that support again coming through for ONYX. You have a look at where ONYX is. He's getting mollied. He's got to reposition. Okay, get to first oranges. Dav's low. Oh, how are we going to play this one? Well, we'll bring Impulse on rotation. He's coming out from CT spawn, puts the incendiary down on the cross, flashes over the top, and they're peeking with it. They're working together as that three-man unit. Infinite Gaming really struggling on this T side of Inferno.
All sorts of damage just posted up in the early rounds here. The nades, easy pickings for Dav and JR. And for Infinite, just run straight into these. Can they not bait in utility? I mean, at this stage, I want to see a bit more passiveness coming in from the T side.
Yeah, the problem they've got with Banana is that if they just go passive, they have to retake it later into the round, and even that hasn't been too successful. So charge up early, take the map control, and if you get hammered by the nades, well, so be it. You're looking for that advantage. You're looking for that early fight. And ONYX, even with the nades being placed, look how deep they get. Out to Nubox and out in dark. They do not want to take another fight on B.
60 seconds, Raga. Slow facing. Can you check top a new box? Yes, he can. Oh, pixels away from JR. Smoked across. Off to Flick. Does catch that kill. 4 on 4, but look at the HP for Infinite. Dav could just mow them all down if they line up. Menti's got to check dark. Shadow seen. Player spotted. Spray comes up good for the first pick. Not quite so much the second. Chanky can trade him, so they hold the site now.
Impulse with the AWP, peeking out from this Coffin's line. No smoke goes down. We could see an AWP v AWP duel from Raga.
Thinking about it. Putting utility down towards that cross position over at CT. A pretty deep smoke as well. Incendiary back from Impulse to drive him away from Dark. Will now know that nobody's out there. Raga continues to look on. He knows that Incendiary is to try and bait in a shot from the AWP. Incendiary towards Nubox, gets it back out of dodge, takes that fight against Bondic, wins it, sees the AWP with the CT side. Impulse is forced away. DMK bursting through, and Chanky sees his man, but gets back out of dodge. ONYX are rotating away. Infinite have got to go back and hold on to their weapons, as it will be a fourth back for the T side.
Chanky just waiting for that AWP to start moving away. Impulse going to leave the site very, very late, so no chance they get caught up by the T side at all. And it just comes down to Infinite not really playing in the positions that ONYX expect. We see a Dark Volley being lined up by Impulse, just waiting for the frag to come in. Great flick up from Raga. Good start for him. Dav in the back of the site, only getting away with one. Needed to get another kill and drop that bomb. And, well, the Romanians, that's their fourth.
But can they follow it up? That's been the big question for this entire time. They can't do so, then you might be in trouble. Tactical pause has been called in for ONYX. Just to realise how they could very easily maintain control of this and get them own 11-4 half, and how poetic it would be if they were able to beat out Infinite on the CT side with 11-4 up.
You've got to imagine that in terms of the money situation, importance here in round 13 is certainly on, because if they lose this, they are going to be reset and money's going to be at an all-time low. Infinite Gaming just got to try and work on how they can start stringing rounds together and not just allow themselves to get individual T moments.
Chanky leaning in here with the AK. Tech with the sprays, Molotov's down. Swings around onto the handbag position, the taps. Hope to see something, but so little has been gained for now.
Yeah. At least, this Banana contact, they haven't just been hammered by HGs and Incendiary, so there's that much going for them. This is an interesting stack on short side. There's 3 CTs here for ONYX.
They're ready to receive this here. Infinite could be in with an opportunity or two. Impulses AWP. Incendiary back. Smokes on for Chanky. Flashes going over. I allow them to peek out towards that short and long positions. AWP scope in for Impulse. Wins out the fight on Chanky. Gets a second kill as well. Looking for JR back in the M4 Bonnet. Thinking of swinging around the corner. Impulse does get traded to a 3 versus 2. And that next T-side player going to run right into the apartments where Bondic is going to try flank him here. If he can insert himself in and deal with the AWP, that could be a crucial 2v2. But he's going to wait for the bomb to get planted and for the T's to make a mistake.
He knows exactly where that AWPer is. It all just comes down to how can he bait Ranger to actually push forward? Well, in case he's going to take the fight himself, M4's looking into retaking the 2v2 and AK underneath Dav.
Grabs that at bracket. Cementi going to try a quiet drop, but now heard to the site. Dav knows that he's there. Where is Edom is the concern. Smoke back will block off both entries towards this pit position. Edom's still going to play passive and careful. See Bondage break through. Catch Dav as well. So many bullets flying. 12 HP for the CT member. And Edom can win this fight effective. That's what he'll do. Infinite gain another.
It just came down to time wasting and being able to pull them off the site, draw that fight onto Dav. A great pick comes into Bondic to make that round durable. Even on the side, Cementi falling, the 1v2 coming through from Edom. And the youngster really showing up in a big way. Just the clutch they needed. That's going to reset the economy. That's going to keep the economy low for ONYX. And they are at a harsh eco because of it.
Raga kicks things off again for the T side. Suits can come forward with a pick or two. Edom and Cementi cleaning house against the eco. It's all 5 players alive. Infinite take a 6th round to look towards the last of the half and try and make it 8-7. The Romanians are doing all right.
And they're holding their weight. They're not leading from the front, for sure. They're still keeping themselves in this and trying to keep it as tight as they can going into the second half, allow some breathing room. JR on the AWP. What most people will remember from JR was a main AWPer for pretty much his entire career. Since joining up with the ONYX side, though, he's gone back to a rifler.
Raga falls to Impulse, the AWP, the first thing out of this round here, despite the angle that he held towards that mid control. Tranky and Edom can follow suit and get a couple of trades involved. Bondic, oh, not checked by Suits. Right, his periphery almost lost out on a headshot angle, but a 3 versus 3 is gained. And Smokes down towards the cross, getting out towards that B side. Dav in the back behind Pillar. The Molotov will go towards New Box. Edom hasn't checked it, and Dav gets a kill in easy. Cementi knows where he must be at. Back into the CT side, however, allows Dav to peek, get another good kill. See where Chanky is, the AWP, taking on the AWP at the CT side. The bomb getting picked up and rotated back out of angle. It could hit the A.
What a performance Dav is putting up in this first half on their CT side. And Chanky's now got to try and win a 1v2 clutch. Smoke going down to the top of Banana. He just gets smoked off. He's thinking to himself, now, I've got the bomb, I've got a smoke. If I go back out to the A side, I don't really know where the CTs have rotated to.
If he goes to B side, he's got to deal with 2 CTs overall. A is definitely the best play here, because Bondic is the only man standing. You're right about that information game. Chanky has none of it.
He's taking his time, isn't he? Put a smoke down to the side, get a moto one out. Even for Bondic, how do you clear this angle with such little time?
Why not even just bother with it? Just go straight for the plant. Little does he know. Bondic gets him. Only took that extra time to check the corners. Maybe that could have been a decent round for them, but as it stands, 9-6 up instead to the favor of ONYX. A very good CT half from them in Infinite. Oh, going into their CT side line of their own right. That could be the way back in for them. ONYX, it's pretty respectable, man. Like, they did a really good job, I think.
Yeah, they did, and they didn't really surprise me at all in the way that they sort of led. I had the feeling that they were going to come out and put on a good showing here on Inferno. They still have done. They gave slight respect up in those last handful of rounds to the back end of the first, just allowing that streak of sort of 3 in a row to come through from the Romanians. Overall, though, the Serbs, they're on top in map 2.
They are. It looks real solid. I mean, it isn't necessarily like the best of maps overall. But compared to when they were down 11-4 in the previous one, it's still an improvement considering that point. Three rounds separate Infinite. Could still find their way back in with this. Pistol and conversions, of course, to start things off with this first round. Utility on Raga and Edom. Defuse on Raga. Util back for Dav and Impulse as ONYX. That's up to the mid and second mid control. In towards that banana control as well. JL will be the only player to press.
Now, Edom has got to be careful with how far forward he aggresses. Yeah, you've got 2 players on long side that could be quick on rotation out from City Spawn. It's just that he's got all the utility. HE is not going to go down. He's going to hold it.
Smoke on main, Bondic with the Glock. Checking out the corner, checking out the apartments. Nades on as JR continues to hold his contact, continues to hold his place. One minute to go. When do ONYX strike, and where do they strike? It seems to be the B site.
You wonder where they're getting this read from, because really there has not been a lot of information being up again at all. Raga out from City Spawn might just get off court by JR, how aggressive he is. Smoke goes down, they'll know that someone's there.
Flash in from the CD&T sides. Can catch all sorts of players blinded. Being him in the back, getting tagged up, desperate to get his kill. Needs support from Fragger and Sentme, who come forward with those kills. Back to MK, gets trading. Cement still on the boost. Bondic's got to finally deal with him. 3v2. Bomb getting picked up. Plant down into Smokes will clear. The retake should be on for the CT side, but they have the advantage, especially as Bondic goes down. Dimk in a 1 versus 3. Backed up behind the pillar. Got all sorts of players to find. He gets that first kill. Chanky runs out of ammo, but both players are low, and Fragger can come forward and deal with the last.
Yeah, good retake coming through from Infinite, and they proved that up on Ancient on their CT side, just how strong they can be when the post-plant positions come in and they have to be forced into those retaking scenarios. Just being able to mass number up against Dinky and just being able to overwhelm on the site, get them up to 7. And for ONYX, they did this out on Ancient, didn't they? Where they got a bomb plant in the pistol, they didn't force it, they just lightly ecoed, and then they went from there and got the rifles to the next. They're not going to play at the same time this round.
Bomb plant bonus for ONYX, buy up from both teams. Infinite. And then way up towards that banana control. ONYX tagged up the 50 already on JR. Great nade.
It all just comes down to the opening damage. Impulse dry with the swing out from this brackets position. Resmoke comes through from Raga to try and help the defensive out on long.
Plenty waiting with SMG in hand. Several players around this corner. Back turn, swinging hit. Cementi can get that one. Frag capitalizing upon it. His Impulse did get a very quick responsive back at a 4-on-4. They are still tied, and Raga can get a kill back on towards JR. Finish off the job towards him. Bondic, meanwhile, so close towards Zoots. Gets into a 3 versus 3, and Fraga's going to fall back on the site itself. SMG swinging back for Edim. Struggles to get Impulse and loses his life for it. 3 kills for the Galil, and Chanky in a 1v3.
He's got to get out of there. There's no way he's going to be able to get this clutch together. Recover one of those rifles. Not the best of moto smokes at all for ONYX. It just came down to those entries. And rather than the first player at Dav checking out to that cubby corner, what they decided to do is just have him almost as a bait. That if there is someone there, okay, we'll get the 1-for-1 trade. We'll chain him out really quickly. And even for Impulse, just continuing to do damage. Bondic, it was up close and personal in the apartments, wasn't it? That smoke clearing, seeing that player, and then immediately getting the information out from Pit too. 3 kills coming through from Impulse, 1 for Bondic. And Janky, well, has a Galil. They're going to have to be on a force buyback.
That's where they'll be out here. No real choice in the matter. Double eco status with the lack of any bomb plant bonuses or any lost bonus for Infinite. ONYX still hunting to take us to that 3rd map in the series. Infinite are only 3 behind from denying that. Regain the lead, but probably might extend towards a 4-round deficit. ONYX, all the cards to work with here. Bondic finds that opener. Zoots first to fall.
Seeing the early nades up to the top of Banana, JR very quickly being able to clear the sandbags area. Does get a nade in response, so there is damage being done by the City side. Flash over the top. Eden might think about making an aggressive move forward, and Bondic's waiting for that to come out from the apartments.
Sees the kill, finds Cementi. Two points of HP is going to be the concerning factor for this A defensive. He's sat back over a library, even going to rotate away, potentially try stack in towards that B site for the entire CT forces. Just as ONYX starts swinging up towards short. Gamble stack on the wrong site at the wrong time. And this should be 11 for ONYX.
And for Infinite, they're going to have to harsh eco into the next round. They might even lose more players. I wonder if JR thinks to himself, do I want to hunt further and make sure that Infinite just don't have anything really in the next round?
JR gets a kill back, Mac 10 kill. $1,200 on kill bonus for the SMG. Frankie trying to stay alive here with an exit frag on towards Bonding. Does catch that frag. JR still left in. Caught as well with a dink off against that player. These won't go hunting for it. They'll keep most of their weapons in play.
Yeah, ONYX just getting closer and closer to that 16th. And even when you look at the lineup, I look at someone like Bondic, and when that sort of Windstrike lineup fell apart, when Krisen didn't continue on with the team and Bondic didn't continue either, there was a solid 6 or 7 months where he just wasn't even playing, or at least playing on HLTV, didn't have a team, didn't have a home. And when the announcement came through that Bondic and JR were joining the Serbs of ONYX, everyone was like, what? How has this happened? Because it's just a roster move that you would never see coming.
It's a roster move that's working right now. And we came into this match with a lot of faith in ONYX, a lot of high hopes for this team in the bracket. And right now they lead by a margin of 11-7. AK's out, smoke's back down. I think there's a gap in that CT smoke, actually. Not like ONYX are going to press the issue. Infinite happy to suppress.
Now that Galil is defending B alone, so there could be a way that Chanky gets a 1-for-1 trade and keeping the economy as tight as possible. Gamble stack up on A, just hoping that they can somehow bait forward Dimkey, which they've been able to do so. Actually gets a second kill after he goes down.
2-for-1 response. AK in the hands of Eden. Rotating back to join the likes of Chanky here on the B side defensive. Galil in hand, smoke out, still faces. Could see them all, gets at least 1 kill, seen the bomb as well. And Eden slow walking up towards this church area. Get back over towards Coffin. Cementi sneaking around the backstab. Engagement in against Bondic. Bomb plant could be denied. Eden's missed all those bullets though. And so much damage done to Dav, but not enough to get his kill back. Impulse seen now, but the USP takes his firefight. Trying his best to try and open up the site itself. Taps on. Impulse will drop him, leaving it all towards Eden. As hard as he fought, as well as he did, it wasn't good enough.
Not at all. They will be able to get the rifles forward. Raga will not see an AWP going into the next. The money's just not really there for them. And for an eco, when you think about the investment they had, it is an okay round. Could have been better? Probably. Doesn't quite happen. M4's coming out across the board. Chanky going to go for an M4 himself, so not going to see any orgs or anything like that. And for ONYX, still seeing them just start farming this money up. 5 rounds of the advantage. Infinite Gaming, they're running out of room to come back.
Now, ONYX. It's allowing a lot of the CT breathing room. Thinking that Infinite might have been able to bring something back here. There was a bit of an eco round of the previous one. Guns back out for this round. And I feel like if they can't get this together, then that's what we start calling it. Already MK seeing that first player out towards the apartment's entrance at the balcony. Cementi's going to drop back off. Took a ton of damage for his trouble, though. Those wall bands connected.
And probably had a heart attack when he saw as many bullets as coming through as they really did out from the apartments. 3 players all just spamming wildly. ONYX have still been quite quiet and looking to get some map control out to this bracket's position quite quick into A.
Raga face Singh gets caught off. Dav credited with the kill. Cementi has a second CT right behind him. He's back up to rotate from the B site though because he's missing all his bullets. And his teammates, all that remains, back out towards the back of pit. Dimk, easy kill. Then it's over. This round is done.
And normally, Jay, I could sit there and say, they were getting team flashed, or they got caught off into position. That whole round just comes down to Infinite being sloppy with the crosshair placement and the individuals. What else can you blame there? They've done damage onto JR. They've done some onto Dav. Not even trades come back in some of those positions.
There's so many missed opportunities, so much missed burst, so much missed engagement from Infinite. ONYX are just starting to walk all over them now. Again, I feel like this might be the beginning of the end for this team. 13 to the board of ONYX. As it looks like we're on for map 3 here, Tweg. Impulse. Probably giving us an indication of how Infinite Faces looks like right now. That was such a very poor round, I think, from them.
Yeah, it was. Individually, just not up to scratch at all. Sharpness not there. And Infinite Gaming, they've got a couple of rifles being saved in. They're going to eco around it. They don't want to buy it down. They're not on max round loss bonus just yet. ONYX just getting closer and closer. And you have the feeling that for a team like ONYX, when they get up to a massive scoreline and they look close to closing out a map, they're not going to choke it like Infinite almost did in that last.
You got to remember that that lead was gained so early on into the matchup. ONYX have had to fight their way back to gain this advantage, so there's no signs of them slowing down or stopping abruptly. And again, that gun round is what came through in the previous ones. I've seen ONYX win it that easily, with Infinite looking that awkward. There's no basis to assume a comeback is possible here. Menti, look at the array here to stop them. Holds off the apartments as they wrap around towards long.
And they are making a decent stack play up into the A site itself. Damage coming through from Ragard doing a fair bit. Dimkey now going to start opening up, and everyone is pretty much on long side for ONYX.
One of those two M4s have fallen. Back in the hands of Raggar as he tries to hold on to that long presence alongside Edom. Actually, both M4s are out here. Leaves the USPs as the only things, or the Deagle and the PT-50, I should say, to hold off against them here on the site itself. And Cemented does a decent job alongside Zoots' kill. Rotations in from Impulse and JR are cut off in a 1v2 now for Edom. Caught off by JR, one-on-one now. Will he go back for an extra rifle? We'll continue facing with M4 instead. Impulse knows he's coming in from long. AK for the headshot player being seen. Tries to pull out the USP, but uses the M4 instead to get one back as Infinite steal the eco.
Edom, go clutch. He's done it again. He's done it before, and he's now doing it for a second time. That's a great round from him. And for ONYX, just struggling to open up that bomb site, getting picked off by a lot of those pistols. They kept eyes on the wraparound play in from Arch when the distraction was pulled for long enough. Edom coming forward with the 1v2, and ONYX, that's a slap in the face, because that's another one of those rounds that they shouldn't really be losing. There wasn't much investment around it, other than the saved-in rifles.
Yeah, continuously. Infinite try prove us wrong. Will it carry on that way, though? ONYX still have a buyback, of course. Still got money to fall back upon. Yes, they lost that round, but it could be the lonely one that they lose here on out. They can respond towards Infinite. It will knock the loss bonus back. The CTs will have very little cash to work with. Engagement in on JR. Wins that opening duel. First man to 4. Zoots the second. Dropping in a 4 versus 4.
Chanky extremely wide up on the CT angle, just as able to deal with JR. And now this whole round gets sloppy from both teams, really. It's a lot of dry peeking going on, a lot of aggressive duels. ONYX get themselves into a position where they know they've done damage onto Cementi. 3v4 deficit, they're going to have to fight hard for this.
Slowing things down a bit for ONYX now. Infinite forced to split their forces, 2-2 per site. Continuing to come in here towards that cross, indicate they are going to go towards that B site play, but all be a fake. Still 2 more smokes to utilize here for ONYX. They'll have a second one back down towards Coffins and one for the resmoke back here. Wagger's going to get suppressed. He still sees one before it blooms. Dimk falls, 2v4. Resmoke back down towards that cross position. The Molotov back behind the Coffins with the flashes going over. And now they must be able to read this is going to be the B play.
Trying to just see if they can bait one of these CTs to make an aggressive move forward. Even getting the bomb down, it's going to be tough. A no-scope through smoke, because of course, why not? Raggar just continues to push forward, and now he's really starting to come alive. What was it? 1 or 0-1 and 8 at one point, now 16, 1 and 17. He has upped his game, and Infinite Gaming are proving themselves that they still want to compete here.
Well, Raggar coming alive has become one of the top fraggers on the team, on that T-City board. Behind the likes of Dav, of course, on this side of ONYX, who is the top fragger in the server in general. Infinite, man. You're right. Some of these players have stepped up. Some of these guys are starting to look real good. Tactical timeout called in by ONYX here. Recognizing Infinite's ploy to try and catch up.
Yeah, ONYX put themselves in a position now where you probably are going to start to sweat. Infinite Gaming just having some life being shown up in the CT side and try to see if they can start working some sort of comeback in, get closer to those double digits markers. Even Zoots with the jiggle peek. Oh, this is scary when an Orb's facing in from Impulse.
Aggression. The 9 on the T side line out towards Banana, initially falling back. AK at Dimk. Also being suppressed at the right timing at the CT side. Nice enough for Cementi. Keeps him at bay.
Just trying to see if they can hold them with that utility. JR's been able to get this complete long control, and the CTs are aggressing down for Banana. They know it has to be a play to A.
Right through, Edom gets his kill. Dav there with a responsive onto the man. Chanky, underpass here at Mexi, evading Dav, but does swing back to catch the kill and drop that bomb back in mid. ONYX falling apart. Ragger expects that backstab from JR, and now Dimke and Bondik with no chance in this particular round. Dimke falls next, and Bondik, well, he's out of here.
That's a perfect info play coming through for the Romanians. For them to have the guts to push down Banana like that, work with the distraction that they're going to be focused in on that brackets control, getting the first pick, and then being able to force Dav into the open and drop that bomb as he flicks back around. Bondik now going to try and clutch a 1v4, which just is not going to happen. Hold on to the AK, bringing it to the next. Infinite Gaming working hard these last few rounds.
Up to 10 now. Maybe not out of this matchup in the same way that we expected that they would be. Lost that early gun investment. But now starting to fight back and do all they can to get back into the matchup. One AK save for Bondik for now. Of course, will wreck the economy state of ONYX. Probably might force around this AK anyway.
Look, Dav can drop, what, an AK? He can buy himself. He can even get an AWP out for Impulse if he wants. He's going to buy himself a Mac 10. They might want to half this round then if they get a Mac 10 upgrade. What are they going for here? They've dropped one over, so they are going to buy it up. And actually, they give themselves a decent buy when you think about the economy flow.
Mac 10s, 3 AKs. Engagement of the M4 could go alright for Cementi. If he could get that opening pick, that probably could have changed the tide of what ONYX could have done there. But you are right, there's a lot more rifles than one might have initially expected. Guns out, Mac 10's in, ONYX are going to wait. Hold for contact, hope that Infinite make a mistake.
These Mac 10s, you'd have to imagine that there's going to be something quite quick, whether it be an apps pop or just a dive out from brackets. And Ragger with this orb, still pressing quite aggressively. Wants to look in for a duel.
Flash over, Ragger out of dodge. AWP barely escapes, but Mac 10's face around the corner, getting Ragger to fall back. All sorts of trades back and forth for the CT side. Dav can get Zoots to the 2 versus 2 so they can gain access to that A site. Chanky giving up the angle though, he's low HP, he needs Edom to come forward, or missed his window to catch off the likes of Impulse. Could have been a perfect kill out on that short position at quad. The bomb goes down, however.
They're both going pit side, out for mini pit and big pit itself, and it's got to come down to the crossfire being locked. Chanky coming out from the apartments could have a height advantage.
Assuming they don't read it. Impulse is watching. Edom making noise, sees that gun, sees that bomb, I should say. Flash over towards the site, but Impulse sprays through that smoke, catches his kill. Chanky all alone. The bomb that should go up. Dav might make his way out. Chanky can get the exit frags, but there's no chance of a defuse. There's no chance of the round. That's what Infinite need the most right now. A 14th to the board of ONYX as Infinite concede the streak.
It was an interesting strat. ONYX goes so hyper-aggressive after they take that early brackets contact of just diving short side, just getting so quick in there, and it's so chaotic. Look at the amount of flashes that are coming through. Dimke's completely blind. He can't see anything. Bondik getting a kill. The trades come back out from that pit position. ONYX, though, kept it even, though. Get it in the 2v2, get that bomb down, and now 2 more rounds to go is all that ONYX need to take us to map 3.
Flashes over Impulse, getting Ragger to start. Great kill in M4 out for Edom. Swinging back to catch up on several of these players. He sees all of them down towards Banana, but only gets that 1 kill. Dimk can respond towards it. 4 on 3. ONYX hold the advantage.
Now, Zoots was thinking about making an aggressive move in from that bracket smoke itself. Now, done damage onto Dav and Dimke. Infinite, though, how do they make an info play? Well, actually, they just peek out dry, and that's the bomb being dropped. It doesn't make a big difference because they could just recover it easily.
They do equalize the standing here. 3 players per side. ONYX. Not the wraparound to go back towards Banana, perhaps. Might read the fact that there's only 1 player out there in Chanky, the AK, set towards that Coffin's position. Time is beginning to run short on the ONYX side. They're just setting up for the execution.
Janky's got to make a decision on how he plays this. If he sees the contact, does he go forward for a fight or fall back instantly and play the 3v3 retake? Zoots is going to be the quickest man to come out from that library position. Janky's got to make that decision.
Could also try both and get that first shot in on the peek out. Sees two, stays and fights and gets a ton of damage, including a kill, and gets away mostly unscathed as well. Zoots to face up here, AK spraying. Dimk could get caught by the incendiary here. The bomb's going to go down up towards the second Orange's position. Sprays through Zoots, trying to catch off one of those kills back, and sprays continue. Dimk so low and now dead. Dav. And now on a 1 versus 2, a 2K clutch for him. Defuse gets on both CTs. Flash turned away from. Now force a wider exchange from the CT side. Look back in towards the cross. Get caught by Chanky. An infinite stop map point from coming forward for ONYX. They're still holding on to this map.
This is going to come down to the wire. It's going to be very similar to map 1 in terms of the scoreline itself. Now with the loss bonus and the bomb plant going down, we should still see an investment out for ONYX. Yes, it is going to be low for a couple of players of Dav and Dimky. They've still got enough money to get a buy together though.
14-11. ONYX. Taking another tactical timeout, I can assume at this stage. Yeah, called in by them. What is their third in this matchup? Infinite have taken none in Inferno. Took 3 at the end of the last map of Ancient. Knowing how close ONYX were, closing the gap and the lead. ONYX in a very similar state right here. They've got 1 left that they can call.
Yeah, Infinite Gaming will feel as if, now that they've got that retake together, that they're still on to try and bring this back. ONYX have never really been close to sort of allowing Infinite to tie up the scoreline. Led from the front for pretty much this entire map. And now coming down into some of the situations where Infinite have got up to 11, how much more can they find? Even Zoots has had a quiet game, 10 kills for him.
He going to become the hindering factor for Infinite. We mentioned before how guys like Raga were having low numbers. And of course, he's turned his game around since that point. Is there anyone from ONYX that we can highlight and say that they're having a bit of a quiet time, and they're the reason why right now they're being caught up upon by Infinite? Upset in for Raga. Tons of great rounds coming in for them, and missed utility again. The smoke's just going to suppress, and they're forced to fall away.
Yeah, ONYX seem to be in 2 sort of motions of, okay, we get a pick, we start working information. We can go A or we can go B. JR's got the opportunity of trying to sell the fake and bringing players back over. They may over-rotate to B. They're already bringing Chanky over.
With Raga's reposition, it seems unlikely. He's just watching Moto, or watching long from Moto. Further smokes down, indications of what's going on here. Re-smoke set up. I thought a rotation might be coming in there for the ONYX side, but no, they're going to commit to the A site. Cementi and Zoots to hold off on that short control. Raga's going to get back here with the AWP. Can he defend from the apartments? Burst through. Cementi gets the kill. Raga gets a pick back up close to personal. Zoots gets caught back here, and Raga gets overwhelmed. Cementi tries to hold back, makes it a triple, and leaves it all on Impulse. Chanky and Edom. Chance to deny in a 1v2 retake. Impulse got a 3K clutch.
We've seen Edom in these clutch situations. This time around, he's got a teammate with him. Both players coming out from long. Impulse checking brackets.
Flashbangs landing a bit too short. Impulse has all vision in the world. Chanky looking to swing back. Both players with kits, footsteps heard. They're going to attack the bomb. No, Chanky gets caught looking the wrong way. And Impulse has clutched it. Perfect timing, perfect crosshair placement. And map point for ONYX.
Oh, the way that he isolates those 1v1s. What a sequence coming in for Impulse. And look at the money, Jay. There is going to be such a weak buy on the table for Infinite Gaming. That round may have just done it for ONYX, because now going into the next in round 27, there are no rifles out for the Romanians.
The one angle Impulse went to was the one angle that ONYX couldn't cover and didn't check. And look at a fast place in from JR. He wants to end this quick here. Flash nades in. Chanky held back to cross. SMG of his teammate of Edom held back to the site itself. Meanwhile, ONYX are still playing out this brackets control default. ONYX will start leaning up with the AK on towards long. The wraparounds could also go towards that B site. They are slow walking. Infinite are given no info, and ONYX have gotten so much.
They've got so much of this map control, and even JR gets a pick on that A site up to Boiler. Ragger's got no idea there's someone in Arch.
Get a kill on him, Bonding with a simple frag. Cementi can trade about one player out of the apartment. Sure, he's doing work to try and keep this back in the game for ONYX. Players cross, Molotovs in, smokes down. Cementi's going to burn 4v3. Advantage for ONYX in this retake.
Oh, so much utils going down towards that short side, and for Infinite Gaming, they're all stacked up together.
ONYX is holding on a site here. Flashes over. Bondic continues to swing. All sorts of smoke suppressing the CT side, and there's no kits for Infinite. If they're going to go for the retake, they're going to go for it right now. Players seen. Eden picked back. AWP tapping forward. Desperate to find these players, but the CT's taking far too long. Eden getting caught. Kills pouring in for the T-side line, and they're all getting picked apart as ONYX will close it 16-11 as we're off to a third map.